Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I have something to tell you. I have fallen in love with a man on the internet.
Not the internet.
The internet. And I gotta say, I don't care if he has a hairy back. I don't care if he's 7 feet tall or 3 feet tall. I'm in love and nothing will stop me.
Okay, even if he's an evil robot demon.
Even better, to be honest with you.
Great.
Even better.
Perfect.
I notoriously love and respect all robots.
As we have to say on the internet, just in case the robots ever decide to rise up against us. Of course, we're not alone here on season 1, episode 8 of Buffy, speaking about I, Robot, you, Jane, I, Jess Sterling, you, Josh Wigler. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in.
Hi, I'm jacked in. I'm Josh Wigler.
I can't. Can we live in a world where jacked in is a phrase that we all use?
Oh, well,
when we
how
talk
about
the
this?
internet?
Here's what I would say to that.
You're not jacked in. You're not alive.
Yeah, if you're not jacked in, you're not alive. So yeah, I've been trying to bring back jacked in ever since watching I, Robot, You, Jane for the first time like 4 months ago. When I found out, Sarah, that you and Jess were doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Shit the 90s Taught Me, I called this episode. This was my dibs. I said, I want I, Robot, You, Jane. I want the internet demon. I'm jacked in, ready to go.
Did you plug yourself into wanting to cover this podcast?
I jacked in.
Oh, sorry.
wanted-
I
yes,
can't believe
yes,
that.
yes.
I
It's
misinterpreted
jacked in.
that you actually wanted to jack in.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Episode has to be the most of its time episode so far. Like,
Yeah.
there's no other episode that epitomizes the 90s in the way that this episode does, with the like stranger danger on the internet, the ridiculous phrases that people use about the net, the net as they call it.
Have you two ever watched The Net, the 90s movie The Net, Sandra Bullock thriller?
I
No.
don't think so. No.
Great one-off
even
Shit
heard
the
of it.
90s Taught Me movie club podcast. Because
95.
It's another terrific movie that's like dangers of the internet in 1995 and what it's all going to look like. Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so like I lived in a time where I feel like it's such a unique perspective because I truly like lived in a world where we did not rely on the internet, and we specifically did rely on the internet. And
How old were you when you first jacked into the internet, Sarah?
I was jacked into, okay, so I remember specifically there was a time where like I turned on the computer and it's a black screen and green font, and I just lived my best life. But there's also a time where like it was a year or so later where I had to be like 11 or 12, where I was talking to bitches on AIM,
Yeah.
on
Your Habbo
AIM.
hotels.
No, before that,
Oh, that was
Jess, like,
before Habbo
it was
Hotel. Sorry.
it was chat rooms, internet chat rooms that you
AOL?
would go AOL, yes,
Yeah.
AOL.
ASL.
And yes, and I was catfishing well before catfish was alive, because I said I was Kiki 18 in Hawaii.
Mhm.
I was not Kiki 18 in Hawaii at all.
Somebody is listening to this podcast who has like since figured out who you are and is like, I'm so glad that Sarah's on here, like validating this secret story that like that I knew. I knew she wasn't Kiki 18 from Hawaii. There was just
And
no way.
honestly, I like dragged the other girls into this, and I remember specifically like the other,
Like your IRL friends?
yes, my
You're like, you should be
friends-
catfishing people.
my friend's mom didn't want her daughter to be friends with me anymore because I was dragging her into the AOL chat rooms and
You were
like
the bad influence.
flirting with like
Disaster.
38-year-olds.
Sounds like.
Yeah, like
Sarah is the type of friend that my mom was afraid of me making.
Yeah.
But it was the time of life. And then flash forward like 5 years, 16 years old, hopping on an Amtrak train to Vermont, meeting a boy from Habbo Hotel, and like literally like my objective there was literally to lose my virginity. I
Yeah.
was an internet horror story.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are the Willow.
Yeah.
And it's
I
truly
was jacked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
checked in.
Jacked in.
Yeah,
Exclusive sound clip.
this episode is everything that our parents, teachers, everyone warned us about in the age of the internet first happening.
Jess, what was your life like in the age of the early internet?
I mean, certainly not as exciting as Sarah's. I was like the opposite, where I was probably a little more naive like Willow, where I would have assumed that people were telling the honest truth about themselves. But we didn't have AOL, so I didn't get AIM until I was like 16-ish.
Mhm.
So before that, it was mostly very early days Mario games, Sims that constantly crashed my computer, and I would cry because I was devastated that Sims crashed my computer. So Neopets, the very
Sure.
childish, simple days of the
But I
internet.
did that
for me.
too.
Yeah.
But I
Very
don't-
well-rounded.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why you wouldn't try to hook up with the other Neo parents.
I think I was just too busy with like having crushes on boys in real life. Like I just like, you know what I mean? I think I just was like way too busy with like obsessing over the boys in my school. Every grade there was a different crush.
Josh, you gotta tell me that you are firmly planted in the middle of the book.
Oh,
month,
yeah. I
please.
mean, I was an internet demon in my own right. Is anyone surprised? Anyone who knows who I am at all, was anyone surprised that I may have been an internet demon in my own right? I was on AOL. I was in forums. I used to write fan fiction in forums, and I made so many fanfic forum friends, none of whom I'm in contact with anymore.
What were the fan
sadly.
fictions like? What
Mostly
was
about
it
Final
about?
Fantasy.
Okay.
I wrote a novelization of the James Cameron movie Aliens. And like I did it like just like completely on my own, and then I got like tired by the last like quarter of writing it, that I just like found the script online and plagiarized it outright. Straight up, just like took it verbatim and restructured it and posted that. That was like, tricksy internet demon type stuff. I played online Survivor. I played some like online reality games. And at this point, I'm like 16 years old as I'm jacked in. And I'm playing online Survivor games on AOL. And I have applied as myself, as well as an alias named Frankie Dynamo. And so Josh Wigler and Frankie Dynamo both sign up essentially as different people, both wind up on the same starting tribe. Both wind up in the same majority alliance on the starting tribe.
Wow.
Both wind up in the majority position at the merge from the same starting tribe. Both wind up in the final four, Frankie Dynamo contributing nothing but his vote all the way through. Both wind up at the final two. Internet demon Josh Wigler runs upstairs during tribal council, runs upstairs to the computer, runs downstairs to his father's office to his computer when he has to
Oh my
respond to his Frankie
gosh.
Dynamo. And Frankie Dynamo, who had never had a single conversation, tried to tank tribal council, still won because internet demon Josh Wigler burned way too many bridges actively. Yeah, so that was my catfishing experience. And I'm still in touch with one person from that game who does not know that I was Frankie Dynamo, as far as I know. So Jason, if you're listening, I'm sorry. He was great. He was on the other tribe. We were very simpatico. I was like, man, but you're on the other tribe. I got to stomp you out. I was like, I get it. But yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, me and Frankie, we went the
Frankie
distance.
Dynamo
Frankie
Is
won.
so good.
Yeah. So is
That
that the
sounds like-
middle, or did I go like in a weird way further past you, Sarah? Like, Sarah, at least you were like trying to score. I was just like trying to like manipulate all of these other like online demons into giving me their fictional $1 million. I couldn't even do it.
I think it's like a little left of center. Like we got we're I think simpatico is the word for you and I.
Yeah.
It's also Pisces season,
Sure.
which you and I both participate in.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that we were just little internet demons
Goblining around. Yeah.
goblining around.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Now, Josh, have you ever spent time in Italy for but in yesteryear? I don't know what year this is. 1700?
14, 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my question just now was like, are you trying to say like Italy in a specific way, or are you talking about like Italy, the establishments?
I know Italy in New York. Have you been to the
Have I been to the one in Europe? Is that the question? The Italy in Europe?
No.
Yeah.
No, have you been to Italy?
Yeah, I've been to Italy and Italy. I have. Yeah. Not in the 1400s. Seems like it was a different vibe.
Very different vibe. Yeah, lots of monks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a crazy lizard demon guy, you know.
Yeah.
Is he a ram?
I don't know. He has like ram horns.
Computers have rams.
They do.
Yeah,
Maybe
have
it is
ram.
they have to be ram then.
Listen, say whatever you want about Joss Whedon, and there's plenty to say, but Joss Whedon in that writer's room were very punny. Very, very punny writers. Would not shock me at all if they're like, and he's got rams. You know, like
That's
felt
very
like,
good. That's
yeah.
very good. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even put two and two together.
Moloch, the internet demon.
Moloch, the
Yeah.
internet
It's
demon.
very creepy. There's this young lad, and he's just like, "You have my love, te amor." And then creepy Moloch he loves to snap a neck. His like favorite move is to grab the head with he like palms someone's head and then just swift little crack of the neck, dead, done. Call it a day.
Yeah, he does that. Poor Fritz, my favorite character on Buffy. Do you know which one is Fritz? He's the one who says this.
I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in.
That's Fritz.
I'm jacked in. Yeah, and we see this like giant book, right? That this is gonna end up in Buffy's hands and Giles's hands. And like this is a new way to start a Buffy episode, Sarah. We have not yet seen a like far and away time area, time of 1418.
No.
Like, at first I thought we were gonna get like some Angel backstory because
Me
we
too.
talked about him traipsing all over Europe.
I spoke with Kevin Mahadeo last night. I hung out with Kevin, and Kevin doesn't listen to anything I do, so certainly I'm not going to listen to anything he does on podcasts. But he informed me that you two didn't know that Angel was a vampire.
No
idea. We
Weird.
You made it all the way through 2024 without knowing that David Boreanaz as Angel is a vampire. That's amazing.
I legitimately thought that he was a guardian angel. It
Yeah.
trashed for me. I didn't know that he was
Yeah.
a
He did a good
vampire.
job, I think, of setting you up one way, and then nope, he's just one of those. The forehead didn't give it away. Like clearly, that was a forehead designed for like Buffy the Vampire Slayer style vampiric antics.
You know what? That was probably the major decision when casting him. Is like, this man has a sizable enough forehead. We could
Yeah.
put vampire forehead on him.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
hired.
Amazing. I just as a quick aside, so like I'm a new Buffy convert. I've now seen the whole thing. I've also watched all of Angel, but only within the last 4 months. It was like a late 2023
yeah.
binge for me. I was one of these people who is like, everyone's like, you gotta watch Buffy, you gotta watch Buffy. It's like, someday. And then like I tried some of season 1, and season 1, as you are discovering intimately, is weird and like really dated in so many ways. I was like, I don't know that I can make it through. And so I think initially, Emily and I, who had seen a lot of Buffy as a kid, we got to this episode, I, Robot, You, Jane, and I was like, I can't handle this.
Oh no.
I can't handle this. And we stopped watching. And then years passed, and we got to this past summer that some close friends of ours really insisted that it's time for us to watch Buffy. So we gave it another shot. We had some momentum behind it. And by the time we reached I, Robot, You, Jane, this time, I could not stop howling for most of the episode. Just like it unlocked something in me. And so now I say this is my favorite episode of Buffy, even though I think like categorically it's gotta be like lower third.
I still would argue that the hyena episode is worse, but that is because it is a Xander focused episode.
Hasn't Xander canonically eaten people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
ate, well, no, he ate a pig. He ate a pig.
He ate the pig. He didn't.
He didn't eat the principal.
person.
No.
Yeah.
But like that definitely is a worse episode in my opinion, simply because this episode was very silly. So like at least I was laughing, whereas the Xander episode I was just wishing it would end. So I feel like there's a difference there. And we get much less Xander in this episode than in that one.
Sure.
Although Willow does fall in love in both episodes, and both times I'm like, she has such terrible taste in men.
Yeah. Yeah, Willow
Lot
has
better
terrible
things for
taste in
Willow.
men for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's only going to get worse.
Mm.
But we flash forward now in modern 1990s time, where they're basically scanning all of these books. And in this pile of books is the massive book from the 1400s. And we get to meet a new character, Sarah, Miss Calendar, who seems to be like the computer science teacher or something.
Miss Calendar. That is such a fake fucking name, by the way. That's not legit.
You think she's secretly someone else? I mean, I'm feeling suspicious about her.
I mean, I don't know if I'm feeling suspicious of her, but like I think that she, like Giles, I don't think that she just shows up at the.
Do you think she likes Giles?
Oh yeah, I do think that she likes Giles.
Yeah.
I don't think that she's here as a coincidence. I think that she was probably placed here for a specific reason. She calls herself later in the episode a techno-pagan, which is interesting. It's like she's not.
That's another way to say internet demon, I think.
Okay, so like let's break down what a techno-pagan could mean. It's a technology witch. I don't get it.
She just loves technology.
Witch.
No, she loves technology. And this is her and Giles are like the antithesis of each other because Giles is very old man shakes fist at sky. Like, oh, the internet's going to ruin everything and TV sucks. And I love books. And Miss Calendar is like, no, man, come with us to the 21st century. And Fritz agrees. And he says, if you're not jacked
Okay, I actually have the entire thing that he says because there's a debate between Miss Calendar and Giles about the nature of computers not being the bad box and books. And Giles says he would rather read a good book. And then Fritz stands up and says,
the printed page is obsolete. Information isn't bound up anymore. It's an entity. The only reality is virtual. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
Let me just repeat that last part real quick.
If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
You're not
If
jacked
you're not jacked in,
then you're not alive.
You're not alive.
You're not
And if
alive.
you're just gonna listen to the podcasts and you're not watching or rewatching Buffy, I just implore you to find this clip because Fritz does not have to go as hard as Fritz goes. Fritz shoots up like a bean sprout. Information isn't bound anymore. It's an entity. He's gonna eat Giles's brains.
And this is the first introduction to Fritz.
He's
We've
not
never seen him
He's
before.
never said anything. He has never appeared before. He has never said anything. And this is what he says the first time you ever meet him.
The printed page is obsolete. Information isn't bound up anymore. It's an entity. The only reality is virtual. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
If you're not jacked in, you're not alive.
I think I agree with the statement and the sentiment, though. If you're not jacked in, you're not alive. I've been jacked in for hours at least, and I'm feeling alive.
Hours.
Yeah.
And Fritz just, he says that line and then he leaves.
And then he leaves.
That's all you have to say, though. Like, there's nothing more and nothing less to say than the written word is obsolete.
The written word is obsolete.
If you're not jacked in, then you're not alive.
If you're not jacked in.
Yeah.
You're not alive. And he just like
the only reality is virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And so
mean,
in some ways, I think this was a very prophetic episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh no, Josh, we're anti-prophecies. We
Yeah.
don't like that.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you that you're in the prophecy zone.
I
No,
do think
no,
there
no,
is something to
no.
like, it feels like something someone would say about social media nowadays. If you're not
Yeah.
jacked in, you're not alive.
Yeah. We're
Fritz was
even
like the
more
first one
online.
on Twitter back in
Yeah.
the day.
Fritz was born like 20 years too early, I think.
Was that his first tweet? If you're not jacked in.
If you're not jacked in,
Yeah,
you're not alive.
definitely.
That's like a thing Elon Musk would say. I
Oh
feel.
God, it is. So yeah, they
This
have
makes
to
me
basically
feel like maybe speech should not be free.
Yeah. I gotta tell you that like I could spend a tight 90 minutes just on this scene. When Emily and I encountered it, I think like it was September, maybe even August, where we started watching it, and then we were done by November. It was really quick. That when we started watching it and we got to this episode, and like it, instead of being the barrier, this was the accelerant. From this moment forward, we rewound this scene like 7 times. We just couldn't stop laughing at Fritz going on the Fritz against Giles.
yeah.
You're not jacked in. You're not alive. What a thing to say.
And I love
Old.
Giles is like, he just vehemently disagrees. He's so just
I
like,
think he's shocked.
yeah, he can't
He's like,
believe
who the hell is this guy?
Never
He's like,
seen
wait a
this
minute,
before.
am I not alive? Have I been dead the whole time?
Yeah,
He's just a watcher. A watcher is
Yeah.
in a category of its own.
yeah. Is that like a lurker? Like he was,
Yes,
he
he's
was
the
not
lurker,
online. He's
the
a
world's
lurker?
first lurker.
Yeah, Giles is lurking.
Yeah.
Giles is lurking. Yeah.
But yeah, the whole point of like this whole situation is they have to scan in all of these books. So we cut to Willow, who's scanning in the big book. She's all by herself. This episode is also very dark. Buffy in it itself is very a dark show in terms of like visually. And suddenly we get a very Lostian moment where the computer speaks to her and says, "Where am I?"
Yeah, where am I? Yeah, the computer's coming online.
Yeah, jacked in. The computer is
jacked
jacked
in.
in.
It's jacked
Yeah.
in.
Oh my gosh. And then we immediately cut to the next day, Sarah, where like Willow is very, I don't know, she's just like not grounded, you know? She's very in the air. She's like super smiley. She's a little smitten kitten.
Absolutely, she is. And I remember this high of falling in love on the internet, spending all night talking to somebody in who fucking knows where.
Yeah.
And you're just on cloud 9 and nothing else is better. And I remember this, and I remember this feeling for Willow. And I think it's like it's nice because somebody's finally giving Willow the time of day, right?
Yeah.
Like she's been waiting
Yes.
and waiting for somebody to like her. And this new guy, Malcolm, seems to be interested. And thank goodness, right? Because losers like me and Willow, we couldn't get guys in the real world. We needed those internet guys, you know?
Yeah, this very much I mean, I think they've seeded this really well, Josh, though, because like Willow has a crush on Xander. That's well established at this point. Who doesn't
Right.
give her the time of day? He's too obsessed with
How
Buffy.
are we feeling about Xander, by the way? What's
He
the
sucks. He sucks. Xander sucks.
Yeah.
And I don't care if people are like, oh, but it wasn't so bad back in the day. Well, now we're in 2024 and Xander sucks.
Yeah. Was he jacked in? Are we saying Xander is jacked out?
No, he's jacked off.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say
Yeah.
he's jacked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this makes sense to me that Willow would like she gets someone's attention finally, all to herself. And this has been a week, she said. This has been going on since last week. And she hasn't told Buffy. And Buffy's like, how dare you? Like, keep this from me. I want to know all the, she's having a little bit of girl talk, Sarah. She wants to know his name. Have you kissed him? What is he like?
Yes. Yeah, I would want to know the same things. And ultimately,
It's like
she
kissing the
reveals-
screen.
It's when you practice on your hand,
Now,
Josh.
what does he look like? Can you picture just like a monitor? Can you just picture like a computer monitor?
That's what he looks like.
Kind of
Okay.
looks like that.
But once again, I can understand because I fell in love before the one that I went. No, I mean, like there was a lot of ones, but there was this guy who I thought was my first love. His name was Mike, and I fell in love with a little pixelated character this big.
Yeah.
And he was the guy. And I had like one grainy ass photo of him. I had no idea what he looked like. And it didn't really matter because I was in love. And you couldn't
This was
tell
the
me-
original Love is Blind.
Exactly. You couldn't tell
Yeah.
me anything different because if I could fall in love with like a half-inch pixelated character, then like, yeah, of course, like Willow can fall in love with this rando. But then we get the 90s stranger danger, like don't meet people online. This is very dangerous from Buffy. She's concerned, and understandably so, because there were no apps. Like back in the day, you met people through a friend of a friend, and they were blind dates, but like at least like you knew that they were human.
There was a person in between who could like somewhat validate that you were going to meet a person who said who was who they said they were.
Yeah, I guess like
Right.
this makes me kind of think of like the closest thing that we had to this before was the, in the paper, it was like the classified ads of like male 32 seeking women.
The newspaper is obsolete.
I'm sorry, I'm not jacked in. And it was like the misconnections, blind connections. Like I remember, like I guess people could have done that and searched that way. But yeah, this was very concerning. And I don't know, like Jess, like would you have been concerned for your good friend Willow?
Oh, if I'm the Buffy, absolutely.
Yeah.
I am like, how do you even know this is a real person? Like, because Buffy's face when she's like says, I don't know what he looks like. Buffy's like so confused. Like this is such a foreign concept in the 90s, and I love her just being like, you don't know who this person is. Like, what if she thinks, oh, the worst thing in the world is, oh my god, he could be short. Oh no, the horror. Not that he could be like a 70-year-old man, but that he could be short.
Yeah.
And Willow's not having any of this. Like she gets an email, you've got mail. She gets an email, I'm thinking of you, and Willow's like, oh, he's so sweet.
That is sweet. It is. Now, I just want to know, like, Josh, like, does Malik actually have feelings for Willow? Because it seems as though it's something more than I just want to control you.
So you think that like he actually wanted to go on a real date?
Yeah, I think that he wanted to go to the Olive Garden. And I think that
bottomless
he wanted to share bottomless breadsticks and unlimited pasta.
Soup and salads.
Yeah.
Well, when he does become corporeal by the end of the episode, he's like, oh my God. being alive. I'm jacked in, like he's got like hands, he's got a head and a helmet and like all this stuff. And he's like, you have no idea what it's like to breathe, to love, to kill. And he then kills poor little Fritz. And I think he's like telling Will, like, this is going to be great. So I think it's a little more about the internet demon than it is about Willow.
Mhm.
I think Willow is like is like sort
a means
of
to an end.
Yeah. And maybe Moloch doesn't know this actively, but I think like after like now that Moloch is back, should Moloch have survived this episode anyway, like Moloch could like, go see a therapist, I think, and like learn a lot about some of this behavior.
If there's one thing I've learned about these 90s shows, it's that men will do anything to avoid going to therapy.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I just feel like even robot rams that have rams and are jacked in deserve love.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I feel like he would have been a better fit for Fritz personally. Especially
he swings both ways, which I love for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's
he
true.
just loves love, which
He
I
loves
love
everyone.
love. So maybe Moloch is not the problem.
Yeah, Fritz was
Maybe-
jacked in.
And even to the point where Moloch is like looking through the webcams, which nowadays we have those like cover things you could cover up your webcam. But he's like
don't.
staring at. Oh, I don't either. But I mean, to be fair, it's in an office, so it's not like I'm like changing in front of this. Anyway, the point is that he's watching Buffy and Willow having this conversation, and one of my favorite moments of this episode is when Miss Calendar is like, "Oh, Fritz, you and Dave are like you're doing a lot you're on this computer like a lot," and Fritz is just like, "Oh, there's a new project," and Miss Calendar's like, "Oh my gosh, am I going to be excited?" And he just goes, "You'll die.
You'll die. You'll die." We don't say that anymore, really. I feel like what's it gonna be like when the project is ready? Oh, just get ready, you'll die when you see it. Like we don't really say like you'll die as in like you're gonna be so excited anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Maybe people just don't want to be thinking.
Should we bring
about
that
death all the
back?
time.
No.
No, I think I'd rather do like it'll blow
You'll
your socks
live.
off. You'll live.
You have no idea. You're gonna live when you see this.
And like I love also simultaneously we're getting that Moloch again, he's speaking to everybody. So on the computer he says to Fritz like, watch her. About Buffy. It's like-
I was just doing a research project and like I searched "you'll die" into Jess and I's chat because I was like, there's no way that like I haven't said that to her. Jess is the only one that said it. On October 7th, 2021.
What was I
You'll
talking
die.
about?
Yes, just wait. You'll die.
You'll die.
Kimmy is the best. We have the best listeners.
We love Kimmy.
Love
We
Kimmy.
do love Kimmy.
Yes,
We do love Kimmy.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny. And we like throughout this episode, we also get like some background moments where the characters, like it's obvious that Moloch has been tampering with all of the computers because there's this guy with this ridiculous looking laptop who's just like, wait a minute, Nazi Germany was a model of a well-ordered society. I didn't write that. And it's like, yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ruined that guy's life.
Wow. Yeah. He's like not getting into college.
No, he's done. That's
Yeah.
it. But yeah, Xander approaches Willow and he's trying to do his little Xandery thing of guess who got my hands over your eyes. And Willow's just like, she doesn't really care. She's like, I don't have time to go with you to the Bronze because I'm going to make it an early night. And by early night, I mean that I'm going to talk all night with Malcolm. I don't care about you anymore, Xander. And honestly, I was kind of happy to see this.
Do you guys have strong takes on the Bronze as like the sort of like the max of Buffy?
It just like doesn't make sense to me because it's like, what is it?
What is it?
One.
What is it?
no
Is a real good
alcohol.
question. It's
What
like,
is it? I
don't think was this really a thing that was like, I mean, I was like still
TV
like,
shows liked us to believe this was a thing, but I fully do not believe this was a thing.
I was like an
Teen
8th
clubs.
grader when this show started, I think maybe 9th. I don't know.
So prime for teen clubs. You were the
Yeah.
target audience.
You know, I went on Royal Caribbean. I went on I went to Club Optics or
Okay.
whatever it's called.
Actually, now that you say
And
this,
so maybe it's kind of like that.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
this is what it is. I was trying to figure out, like, what is this? And you're right. It's the teen club on
On a cruise ship.
a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Josh.
Yeah.
I've been racking my brain.
See, the difference is it was a teen club on a cruise ship versus a teen club on a hellmouth.
It's a little different.
It's a little different, but like I don't think that there were tons of like teen clubs on land. I kind of thought this was like an aquatic phenomenon, but I don't know.
We did have one of our listeners, but like from Twitter, she did say that there was, okay, she says, I think of the Bronze in Buffy's pre-drinking age era, at least, as a cool alternative coffee house with live music. People have tried to make this a thing in real life, usually transitioning into a wine bar or something at night. Not sure how successful it has been outside of Sunnydale, but when she was a high school and a senior in high school, she used to go to a very cool non-alcoholic teen dance club in a church in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and she thinks that this is the only time in
That's
history that's
cool.
ever worked. And then she has attached a New York Times article published in 1987. Dance club gives youth place to belong.
Youths, the youth.
The youths.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for those youths.
Incredible.
And they have a place to belong in a church basement. Thank goodness, in Greenwich, Connecticut.
That's great.
Wow.
Mhm.
Incredible. Yeah, I don't know. The Bronze always felt very fake to me. I enjoyed the what was
I
it
love how
called
you're
that they had
saying
last
always,
episode?
like we've been watching this for 20 years and it's been
No, I'm just saying
7
like
episodes.
every show has this thing. Like Smallville had it, although that was a coffee shop, which made more sense to me. But yeah, all these teen dramas have this sort of thing like the Bronze. And Xander is Xandering all over the place and is like, oh, Willow, she has too much color in her cheeks. Like she's too happy. I don't like it. And it's like, you know what, Xander? Maybe if you were a little nicer to Willow, then she wouldn't have had to go find her internet demon boyfriend.
So
Who do
Xander,
we ship harder though? Xander and Willow or Internet Demon and Willow? Is Willow better off with Internet Demon or Xander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Internet demon.
internet demon.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Xander's the worst.
Yeah.
So yeah, Buffy knows. She calls him out. She says, "Oh, you're jealous because Willow's got a fang."
I think that he is a little jealous. Like I think it's kind of the grass is always greener. I think that he obviously doesn't want to give Willow the time of day, but his ego is jacked in by the fact that Willow is interested in him, and if Willow is interested in somebody else, then he has some sort of feelings about that.
Yeah, no more. His self-worth plummets.
Exactly. So once again, maybe something that therapy could help him with, but therapy is for the wimps.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think Xander goes to therapy as an episode, unfortunately.
You don't
wish.
recall it.
I don't
No?
recall.
I don't know that I'd want to watch that anyway.
Yeah.
But they're like speculating on this is dangerous. Xander says, people meet on the net. They talk, they get together, have dinner, a show, a horrible murder. That's it.
A horrible murder?
That's what he says.
I've heard it. I mean, is there good murders? Is there adequate murders?
It'd be like a Dexter murder. Like
Yeah, like if you're murdering a murderer, is
Yeah.
that a
It's
good
it's a double
murder?
negative, and so
Yeah.
it becomes a positive.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
by saying, but you still, like are at least like staying true to like, okay, it was a good murder, but it was still a murder, like,
Yeah.
it was still bad to do. But as far as the murders go, it was okay.
Yeah.
That murder was all right.
The next scene is Josh's favorite, where Fritz is jacked in.
Yeah, hold on. I got it. You ready? Here it is.
I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in. I'm jacked in.
And
And
while he's doing is he's like carving an M.
Yeah, he's carving like the sigil of Moloch to like summon the internet demon back to life.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, his devotion. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, and it's the stuff flashing on the screen feels like the gif of that woman looking confused with like math equations all over her face.
Yeah.
Just like that's what happens when you get jacked in.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Sarah, this is not a good sign. I mean, everyone changes a little bit when they get into a new relationship, but Willow is like 5 periods late for school.
Yeah. She says that she slept in, and of course that's alarming for Buffy because Willow's a good student. She doesn't, she shows up to class on time. She gets good grades, and she is noticeably irritable the more questions that Buffy asks. And it comes out that she actually skipped class. She was too busy texting with her new internet boyfriend Malcolm, and this is where like Buffy starts actually showing concern, is like, you know what, I am like feeling some sort of ick factor about all this. And then Willow does or says the thing that like all toxic relationships, like it ultimately comes out, oh, Malcolm said you wouldn't understand. And that
you'd say that.
He said you'll say that. That is the like the definition of like an emotionally controlling relationship. So then we knew that there was problems. I mean, like we've all heard this before. It's very concerning. Very, very concerning.
Yeah, this isn't great. And I love Buffy giving the sage advice and wisdom when you meet someone from Craigslist, when you go out on a first date, is go somewhere public in the daylight and let someone know where you're going to go.
Yeah, and you know what else? Don't go to a second location.
Never go to a second location.
Yeah.
That's how you get murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad murdered too.
Yes.
Not even good murdered.
Very bad murdered.
Yeah.
So Buffy goes to Dave, who's the other computer guy beyond Fritz, who's getting jacked in. And she's like, well, you're a computer geek. Oh, I mean, genius. And okay, again, this is so 90s where she talks about like, oh, can you pull up someone's profile? Oh, wait, but they write their own profile. They could say anything they want. And she talks about tracking. I think she says an e-letter.
Yeah, e-letter.
She's asking about an IP address. I'm like, she's like, is it possible to find a location of which the computer's at? And he's like, it's impossible. You can never do that. That is so advanced. And it's
IP addresses were not we were not jacked in on that yet.
No. Well, the thing is Sarah, the funny part is we know Willow is a master hacker. So Willow is the one Buffy needs, but it's catch-22 because she's the one involved.
Yeah, she can't use Willow here.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, it is very brutal. Too bad there's no techno pagans around to help her out.
And especially because Dave is on Malik's side and he says, leave Willow alone. And Buffy's like, excuse me, are you Malcolm? And he's like, of course not. I have work to do. And this is not good for Buffy because now she has Fritz and Dave are against her.
Yeah. 2 computer nerds against 1 legendary
Slayer.
vampire slayer.
Yes,
Tough deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
They have
she's
if they have a third nerd, then maybe she's got a problem.
Big, yeah, the 3. It's
Just
very hard.
Just the 2 she can handle. If there was a third nerd, I think that could be like a really serious like season long arc. But here it's just one.
Where's the Geek Squad when you need them?
Where's the Geek Squad when you need them?
Yeah, and Buffy goes to Giles. She needs advice, and Giles doesn't have any because things involved with computers fill him with a childlike terror. But he's cool dealing with vampires, but not computers.
This is sort of like my father-in-law. Like I think he feels very similarly towards computers as Giles does. He just wants the book. He doesn't know how to do this internet stuff. He's out. Catfish. That's what you eat.
Catfish is what you eat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We see Buffy follow Dave to like this CRD building. And she sees him. He's like meeting someone in the back in like this lab coat. And yeah, then we get Fritz on the computer, and he's like, "She's too close.
She's too
What
close.
do I do?" And then it just on the screen, kill her.
Kill her. That's the text to voice.
And because apparently at this point, Malik, like Malik has hacked all of the security cameras locally, it seems.
Internationally as well, I think.
He has eyes
He's
everywhere.
everywhere. He's all over the internet. It's
Mhm.
He's
pretty
the entity.
incredible.
He's information.
Yeah.
Internet-y.
And
Yeah.
Fritz's reaction to kill her also sent me, where he just goes, "Party."
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't clip that out. I should have, but he does this at the party.
It's very what was the queen on Drag Race? The Libra, Sarah. You know.
Adore Lano?
Adore Delano, that's right. Party.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
I'm
just
a
like
Libra.
it's such a weird note for the jacked in guy. You know, like
Yeah.
he hasn't been talking about partying all that much.
He's
This is
just
his
been
version of a party.
Party. Yeah.
party.
Party.
Yeah. And so Buffy is still trying to like figure out what the heck is going on. She's in the library with Xander and Giles. And apparently CRD is Calyx Research and Development, which is a computer research lab. And Giles shudders. He can't handle this. This is not his bag.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I'm just like getting flashes to the amount of times my boss has asked me to save a PDF. And like that is Giles.
Yeah.
That's Giles. He's such a freaking boomer. I just can't.
Do you not like Giles?
No, you know what it is? I like Rupert. I just don't like Giles. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Which I didn't realize actually that Rupert was his name. I didn't realize his name was Rupert Giles. I thought Giles was his first name.
Mr. Giles.
Mr. Giles, Rupert
No,
Giles.
I
Yeah.
don't think that I was informed of this until this
Yeah,
episode.
I think I like Giles more than Sarah does, and it's mostly because of the compliments that he paid the bug teacher in that episode, because I just found him to be hysterical in that episode.
Yeah.
And I think it's silly when he has to dress up in like combat outfits to fight Buffy, because he just looks like a little dweeb kind of.
What do okay, so there's 5 series regulars in season 1. Can you power rank them for me real quick? And I
We
can
have
give
that on our list to do
Great.
today.
Okay, great. We don't have to do that right now then. Okay.
Yeah, we
okay.
could do it at the end of the podcast.
Okay,
That is
great,
on
great,
our
great.
list to do.
I have questions. Yeah.
Daddy Vamps is involved as well. We got to include Daddy Vamps in the rankings.
Is
so.
Daddy Vamps the master?
Master? Yes,
Call him
master.
Daddy Vamps. Love it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Daddy Vamps.
Great. Into it.
So Buffy's trying to talk to Giles about all of this, and she says this again. Oh my god, this show is so of its time. Where Buffy says, "My spider sense is tingling," and Giles is like, "What is this spider sense you speak of?
What does this mean?" Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure they just in the last episode quoted like if you have great power, you have great responsibilities. So it's just basically all Spider-Man references.
I mean, like the
constantly.
people in the writers' room are like huge nerds and like pop
Mhm.
culture aficionados, and some of them will go on to do work in comics. Some of them probably already have at this point, but like, yeah, it's 1997, right? At the time of this, like,
Yes.
for a few
Yeah.
years shy of like Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst making out. You know, like it's not like super pop culture
Yeah.
consciousness right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So he doesn't know what Spider-Man is. We
Yeah,
have this like
funny.
really hot and steamy group chat between Willow and Malcolm, which I'm just like so glad that they
Are they cybering?
They're cyber sexting. Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
oh, no one has ever made me feel this way
Yeah.
before. Buffy just doesn't understand. And Malcolm is like, well, she's trouble. That's why she got kicked out of her last school. And Willow's like, wait a minute, how do you know that? He's like, it's on her permanent record. And Willow is getting a little bit of the ick.
That
like,
ruins the
how-
mood. The cybering ceases.
Yes, exactly. And he says, let's not worry about her anymore. But
This
she has to
is
log off.
so toxic boyfriend. Yeah, this is
Mhm.
very like high school toxic boyfriend. I've heard this story a billion times before, but Willow does get the ick in this moment because she doesn't remember telling Malcolm that Willow got kicked out of school. And even though, like, how did he get access to the permanent record? We know that he has access to everything, but Willow doesn't know that.
It's like a very chat GPT type of an answer too, where like the ethics of how the information was obtained is not a consideration here. Like the excuse of like, oh, it's on her permanent record. Like it's like, oh, I overspoke. How do you know that? Oh, it was on her permanent record. There's like no consideration for like, yeah, and how did you access that?
Yeah.
You know, this is a
But
very
I like that Willow's at least thinking about it, right? Like she's at least wondering. She's not completely naive to everything.
She's a human being, not an internet demon.
Exactly. And then we get Sarah. I don't know if this is like a new ship that we're supposed to be watching out for, but again, the antithesis of each other. We have Miss Calendar and Giles having a bit of an argument, and we know the opposite of love is not hate but apathy. And these two, they got some steam going on. So are we shipping Miss Calendar and Giles, Mr. Giles?
Absolutely I am. This is my new vested interest. Yeah.
Rupert and Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rue and Jen.
Rue and Jen. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it's just, like it's very like polar opposites. Like one loves books, the other one loves computers. How will they make it through the like their differences? And I mean, like I'm feeling it. Yeah, like I definitely saw those vibes that they were pointing out. And you know, good old Rue Giles is in need of somebody to kind of like bring him to the 21st century. And
plus teenagers all the time. It's kind of nice for him to have an adult to hang out with.
Yeah, and like I mean, I can see, like I want her to like loosen him up a little bit, and I think that she can definitely do that. So yeah, like I'm into this. I mean, are you?
Yeah, I'm definitely into this. I like having, first of all, Miss Calendar had crimped hair earlier this episode. I was very into that. And secondly,
walk into a classroom at one point with like sunglasses on. And he's like, Miss Calendar, are you hungover? Like there's like a vibe there. It's like, yeah, last night was crazy.
Yeah, I just like how she gives him sass, because Giles is very sassy a lot of the time, and I think he needs someone else to give it back to him. And she's also the one to point out that the monster demon, internet demons book is an empty book. And she's like, what is this? Just like a giant diary? And Giles is like, this is very, very peculiar. So raises his radar, which is good.
Yeah.
And then we get, again, more trouble that Moloch is causing, because the school nurse is like, there was nothing in his chart about being allergic to penicillin. And I'm like, oh my God, people are dying.
People are dying.
This is horrifying. And Dave apologizes to Buffy. He's like, oh, I haven't been like getting much sleep, but Willow's in the girls' locker room. You should go find her. And this is all a ploy. This is Dave's ploy because he's been conned by Moloch, that Buffy goes into the girls' locker room. The shower is on and she's like, oh, this is weird. Let me just turn this off. And there's just randomly exposed wires hanging on the ground.
Yeah.
This is so dangerous.
This is really dangerous. Hazardous. But I don't know how, like, did Dave or did Fritz like cut the wires? Like, how did
Well, Fritz is the one who turns the water on, so I had assumed that he was also the one that cut the wire. He's like the more dangerous one of the two.
Was there a more internet-y way we could have endangered Buffy in this moment? I feel like this maybe isn't quite as thematic, that they're like gonna like electrocute her in like the girls' locker room.
I think that they were like, you know what? It's electronic adjacent.
It's electric wires. Yeah,
nailed it. But
now I don't know if this is exactly how electrocution works.
They could have doxed her. Moloch could have doxed Buffy.
The doxing exists though.
And Moloch could have been like, okay, guess what? Take a look at Miss Summers' permanent record, you know?
Ooh, that's fair. I mean, no one else knows she's a Slayer, so it would be hard to like reveal that.
Like a Cruel Intentions, like let's release all the information on printouts and spread them around the school.
Yeah. Have we done a deep dive on, is Buffy wearing a cross? and what's inside of it. If so.
Yes, we have. Absolutely. I said, I think it was when Angel gave it to her. I was like, last time I saw Sarah Michelle Gellar wear a cross, there was
drugs.
cocaine in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
Yeah.
It's a huge cross. So
lots of cocaine.
Lots of
lot of
room
room for
for
drugs.
lots of cocaine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
yeah. So after Buffy gets her shoes a little, the rubber on her shoes burnt a little bit. Thank God for 90s and really, really chonky shoes, because she could have died if this was like the early aughts with the ballet flats,
Oh, imagine if she was wearing those light up sneakers. If she had light up sneakers on, she could have
She's
died.
not fine.
She could have died if she had light ups on, because like now her feet are wired up too.
That
Her
would have
feet
been
were- her shoes were
exacerbated the
jacked
issue.
in.
Yeah, shoes were jacked in. But this
Did
basically
you,
sends
you,
Dave.
you all didn't wear light up sneakers, no?
Not once
Did
I
you
was
have Sarah? Did you have roller sneakers?
wheelies.
Did you wheelies?
No, I didn't have
Were you popping
wheelies.
wheelies on your way to meet the internet date?
No, but
Yeah.
I definitely had rollerblades, and like the thing is that like I would go up on the top of the hill and then go down on my rollerblades, and I would be too afraid to do that now. Like, why did I have the confidence and the bravery of
Children have confidence, unearned confidence.
They don't know about consequences yet.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I would do that. But no, I never got the wheelie sneakers. I never
Yeah.
even got the Razor scooter. I really
Oh my
wanted
God, we've
one.
talked
sorry.
about this. This is
sorry.
your trauma.
I
from
have a
childhood.
lot of baggage around the Razor scooter.
Footwear and sneakers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Don't worry, it just ruined everyone's ankles. So you just saved yourself some ankle damage.
Yeah, my ankles
I-
are pretty good.
Did I have light up sneakers, you think?
Yes.
What do you think?
You stomping all over the
Why did we both
mall.
immediately say yes?
I can see a young Josh just stomping his ass all over
Especially
that
if they
mall.
were like comic book ones, like Spider-Man specifically, or like, you know what I mean? Like themed
Yeah.
light up sneakers. I
Okay,
think.
well, I'll let the mystery be as to whether or not I have light
Oh.
up sneakers.
I
won't
love
confirm
a
it.
little mystery.
Yeah, let's just have that be like sort of open ended.
Mhm.
Did I have light up sneakers?
I mean, the answer is yes.
We'll leave it open though.
Okay, it's
Well,
open.
the world may never know.
Yeah, we'll
The
leave it
piece
open.
is wide open. Trust me.
Mhm. Yeah.
But this pushes Dave over the edge. He's like, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. And Malik's like, you promised. And the project is almost complete. You have to do it. And Malik says, I've shown you a whole new world. Knowledge, power. I could give you everything. All I want is your love.
Okay. I mean, I want love.
And then this is like this is kind of like the darkest Buffy has gotten so far, where Malik opens up like a notepad on the computer and basically
God.
starts writing out a suicide letter from Dave to his parents.
In front of Dave, right?
In
he
front of
doing-
Dave,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And as Dave backs up, who's in the corner, but the most jacked in of them all,
Yeah,
Fritz.
Fritz. Yeah. His computer's on the fritz. Yeah, he's gonna murder Dave. That's
Yeah.
a tough ending for David.
And this
Buffy's
is
very nonchalant about it, I have to say. Buffy,
no,
Buffy
she's just like, oh, he's dead. No big deal.
Buffy goes around staking vampires, so she's seen like somebody like talk 1 minute and then be completely ash the next.
Yeah, she's
but
very jaded to
But
death.
still, like, yeah, she goes into this room and David, it's been like framed to look like David has hanged himself, and they're like, well, what's up with David? It's like, oh, well, he won't be coming, suicide, and she just like walks in like that. It's like, Buffster, this is nonchalant.
And yet she was devastated when the bug teacher died, the biology teacher
This is
died.
very nonchalant, Buffy. Like, that's a fellow
Yeah.
student.
It's just like another day, another death at Sunnydale High.
Mhm. They're on Hellmouth.
Yeah, should
case y'all
anyone
forgot.
live in Sunnydale?
No,
No, I've been
Episodes in, Should we
saying.
shut Sunnydale down?
they all need
Yes.
to move.
Yeah, there's 7
Yes.
seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Just get them out of here. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I am very surprised the real estate numbers have not tanked since all these deaths are coming.
Oh, it must
crime
be.
rates?
It must be real cheap to live in Sunnydale. Would be my guess.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. Like, you see it, it's like, oh, I can buy a house for
People will put up with a
$80,000
lot. Yeah, people will
in
put up with a lot.
California.
Yeah, right. And like beautiful, like the weather's always good. You've got like
Yeah.
like a 4-bedroom house. You've got a yard.
But you just
have
might
to
die at any moment.
vampires and hellmouths and internet demons, but the price can't be beat.
You know, I've never owned, so I don't know if like I have like a big pull towards or against it, but maybe it's worth it. Jess, are you gonna sell your house and move to Sunnydale?
No, I've been to California. The weather can be good if you're in the right part of California, but like sun all the time is kind of overrated.
Sun all the time is kind of overrated. I mean, I
Yeah.
do. I love a season.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Gotta
do
love a
just
season.
love seasons.
So luckily for everybody, Giles has figured something out. This big book that Miss Calendar thinks is a diary it used to be that in the Dark Ages the souls of demons were trapped in volumes, and they remained in the book until the pages were read aloud. So this is Moloch the Corruptor. He's a deadly and seductive demon, and he draws people to him with promises of love, power, and knowledge. And so they're like, well, that's weird because the book is empty. And I love Giles. Like, Sarah, this to me reads as the lady doth protest too much when he says that dreadful calendar woman found it. It's like, dreadful Giles. I don't think so.
Dreadful
yeah.
calendar woman.
Well, okay, if you're gonna pick a fake name, why Calendar? You could be Jones, and that would be less suspicious to me.
What if her first name is like July? Like July Calendar.
Okay, so she's a prostitute, you're saying?
It sounds like it sounds like a superhero alter ego sort of thing.
Yeah, Miss Calendar.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right. Well, you know what?
I think Calendar could be a good first name.
Cal.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Cordelia's first name in real life is Charisma. So
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
Cordelia.
Yeah.
basically
Oh
the
my
same
God.
I
name.
can't. I'm the only thing that I don't like about this episode is Cordelia's not in it.
Yeah, not enough Cordelia.
Not even close. Best character.
So they figure it out. I think Buffy's the one who says he's gone binary on us.
Yeah.
So they figure out that he's in the computer, and that Willow is the one who scanned it in, and they want to delete the file, but apparently they're unable to do so because when Buffy attempts to drag it into the trash bin, it's just like this horrifying Moloch demon pops up on the screen.
It's so pixelated. It's so pixelated. And he goes, "Leave my Willow alone." And then they're like, "Oh, we know she's fucked." It's a big issue.
Yeah.
You can't delete the Willow file.
And Xander, because he's a moron, is like, well, how bad could it be? Me. And they're like, well, they could fuck with the economy. They could fuck with nuclear missiles. They could fuck with medical records. Xander, you're an idiot, bud.
Yeah, he's not smart. He's not smart. But also, you got to remember understanding of what the internet was capable of at this point. You know, a very young understanding. But I think the writers got it. Right, like this is very dangerous. This is a very, very dangerous adversary they're going.
And it's only gotten more dangerous as time as like everything now.
Yes,
you know,
correct.
But yeah, this is when Buffy goes to the computer lab to try to find Willow. She finds Dave's body and doesn't think it's a big deal.
Not a big deal.
NBD, you know.
Where's Dave? Hanged himself. Like,
He's
wow,
dead.
Buff.
I mean, honestly, seriously, because like last week, like the principal died, then like the bug lady died, the biology person died. Everyone's dying in the school.
Yeah.
Worst of all, the pig died.
Oh, I was so
know,
upset
that's
when
sad.
the
That
pig
was
died.
upsetting. That was
Another
upsetting.
reason to hate Xander.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
Yeah.
he ate the pig. He just didn't
He
eat the
ate the pig.
principal.
Yeah. Okay, so he didn't eat a person.
Yeah.
No, not that we know of.
Okay.
No, but he's not keeping kosher.
No, definitely not.
And so Buffy's just like, okay, listen, Xander and I, we're gonna go to Willow's house. Giles, you figure out a way to get Moloch out of the net. Unjack him, jack him out.
Yeah, jack
It's
him off.
impossible.
Yeah.
It'll never work. He's in there forever.
Yes. Oh my gosh, so ridiculous. And Willow gets home and she's in her bedroom and her computer just pops up. You've got mail.
I missed that. Don't you miss that? You've got mail. That was
Yeah.
soothing.
Yeah, now I only get anxiety when I get
Yeah.
emails.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're no longer the kid at the top of the hill with your rollerblades on,
No.
excited to coast down. Now you're
No.
at the top of the hill wondering how on earth are you going to get down. You've got
It's true.
mail. Oh,
You
God.
got mail.
Get these shoes
Well,
off me.
It'd be even more horrifying if what happened to Willow happened to the rest of us, where she like ignores it, she turns off her computer, and it just boots right back on, and is like,
Yeah.
"You've got mail
Well,
again."
so I don't know if this is a me problem or what, but I shut down my laptop sometimes, and then it always restarts. Always.
Huh? That's happened with my
Huh.
TV before.
Yeah. It always
Maybe Moloch the
restarts.
demon is
You
in all
have
of
a-
ours.
Are you
I
a
can't-
P-
I
PC
got
or
an
Mac?
Apple. It's an Apple, and I can't. I hit restart, and I say like shut down after restarting, and I walk away, and then I'm in the other room, and I hear, "Buh." It's like no.
You got a Moloch in there. You got to
I
get
have
him
some-
out.
There are entities. There are entities that would prefer
There are
it if I did
entities.
not go offline.
That's for sure.
And I
yeah.
certainly understand. But can Daddy take a nap? Can I turn the computer off just
No.
for a little while?
Now you
Yeah.
got to keep
So-
working.
So for whatever it's worth, anyone else who is upset that we're going dark, it seems my computer is upset about it as well. Does not like it. Does not like it at all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else people don't like is getting chloroformed, which is what happens to Willow.
Sure.
That was very
Yeah.
surprising that Willow got chloroformed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not great, you know?
Who do you think did it? Annie?
Yeah, Annie
Uh,
is excellent at chloroforming people.
Yeah.
Probably Fritz. He's very
Who's
jacked in
better
this
at
moment.
chloroforming people, Annie or Fritz?
Ugh, Annie's better at everything than everybody.
Yeah.
is the
Would
answer.
Annie be a good vampire slayer?
I think so. But I think she's susceptible the way that Willow is.
Ah.
Like, I think she cares a little bit too much, unlike Buffy.
Yeah. If Community, Sarah, had done a
Mhm.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer parody, how would we assign some of these people out so far? Could you cast Community, cast Buffy onto Community?
Yeah. The issue is that I would love to do your exercise, Josh, but I don't remember any of the Community characters' names.
Yeah.
So I would love
Honestly,
to go
they're
down
starting
the-
to leave me as well. I think Britta ends up as Buffy. I think Britta
think
ends
so?
up being
Okay.
Buffy. Or, there might be like a competition for who gets to be Buffy.
No, because remember, Britta is the one who's like, enhance. She has to be
Yeah.
Willow because she's
Yeah.
the hacker.
Yeah, I feel like Annie is Willow. I think like
Okay.
Annie and Willow kind of map.
You got
Is
the-
Pierce is Xander.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, yeah.
Giles.
Is it
maybe
Jeff?
The
Because like
Dean? The
Jeff's
Jeff?
like, I'm not that old, and they're like, you're Giles. I
Yeah.
feel like that would get under his skin. Chang is clearly Daddy Vamp, right? Yeah,
It's got to be.
yeah.
Yeah, Daddy Vamps.
And I don't know who Abed and Troy are. quite yet.
Shirley,
Yeah,
I don't know. Shirley
yeah.
can be Cordelia, but I don't want to do that to her. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Just can't be a 1-to-1. It's impossible, I guess.
All right, it's tough. Yeah.
So meanwhile, Giles is listening to the radio talking about how all the serial killer profiles have mysteriously gone missing.
Abed is Angel.
There you go. That makes
Yeah,
sense. Cryptic messages. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
And so Giles turns to Miss Calendar. He says, I need your help. There's a demon in the internet. And Miss Calendar's just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Techno-pagan. You want to hear about that? And I was like, yeah, can we spend just at least a minute of screen time exploring that? And so I was like, "Okay, yeah, so here's what's up. Things can be ancient and online. What does she say basically? She's like, just because we're on the internet doesn't mean we can't be dealing with mythology and stuff. And it's like, whoa, deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt that.
Yeah, Miss Calendar has a lot of thoughts in her techno-pagan brain about this
Well,
situation.
Yeah. I mean, it very much struck me that she just is very in the know. Like
Yeah.
nothing seems that surprising to her. So this is why I feel as though like she's more clued in than we're at first led to believe.
She's more
Yeah.
what?
Jacked in.
She's
Excuse
jacked
me.
in.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm jacked in.
Oh gosh.
Jacked in.
Yeah. Right? Like, right, Jess? Like, she has to be in the know.
I think so. She's very confident, and it feels like
Yeah.
she knows more than she's
What-
letting on.
What agency told Giles to come to this school? Like, how did he get here? Do we know
Well,
this?
he's a watcher, and we know that he was like assigned here because of Buffy, but we
Who
don't know who did
assigned
the
him?
assignment. This is
Who
a good
assigned
question.
him?
It goes all the way to the top.
Who's the top?
We need to figure that out.
Who
Maybe it's
assigned
Miss Calendar.
Buffy as
What
the
if-
Slayer?
If Miss
Prophecy?
Calendar, what if Miss Calendar is secretly Giles's boss?
Okay.
You know, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So is she like a senior watcher?
Hmm.
Maybe it goes Watcher, and then above Watcher is Techno Pagan.
Hmm.
Okay, but like I really want to know like who's like at the top of the food chain, because like I don't understand like who gets assigned, and like and I know, and once again, like I know that every century there's one Slayer, blah blah blah. I think it's a prophecy that assigned Buffy to this, but like who was the one that was like, Buffy, you're a Slayer? Like I feel
Well, if
as
it's a
though-
prophecy, then it's inside. I don't think someone's deciding that. It's like the
Yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Can you tell Winston to shut the fuck up?
Oh my
I
god.
would love to, but he's
Ah.
uncontrollable.
Yeah.
I just like, unless he has ideas and he knows.
Maybe that's why Winston's barking is
He's
like,
just-
you
he's
guys
just
go back to the
screaming.
first episode. They explain all of this.
He's just screaming, "I'm jacked in!"
They
I'm jacked
explain this. She's the chosen one. What do you want? What more do you need?
But who chose her? I just
Yeah.
like.
I think.
feel
Well, I
chosen
feel
one.
like it's Buffy. It's more like a prophecy. So like she's born into it, like the Avatar, right? Where it's like you just become
Uh-huh.
the Slayer. You're born the Slayer. But
Sort of.
Giles
Vision
and
is
Giles,
the
we
blue
know that his dad and his dad's dad and all them were also watchers.
Family
So it
biz.
Okay.
seems like it's
Yeah.
a family business.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
nepotism. I forgot.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah.
wrong
Giles is a
by
nepo baby.
nepotism.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I
Nepo watcher.
forgot. How can I
Yeah.
forget?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like somebody else chose him. Okay, so he
Yeah.
grew into. I forgot about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the techno pagan can't be his boss. You know, we don't know.
And I will say that like you at some point before way before the end, like you'll have a better idea of like sort of like, some of,
we
like,
need
the
to see the hierarchy.
organizations
guess,
and the infrastructure and all
Like
that.
if we watched the movie, like would we have these answers?
No,
I don't think so. I do think and I'm not to be like taken at face value on this. I think that the movie is considered canon.
Kind of based off what Todd
think-
the librarian has told us.
Yeah, right. So it's like, like it loosely, like some version of that happens before the Buffy pilot, right? Like
Yeah.
this is not her first rodeo when we meet her in Sunnydale. But I don't
Yeah.
think that you would watch anything from the movie. Certainly I know there's nothing you need to watch from the movie. You do not need to watch the movie to like there's no hidden knowledge in the film.
Right.
Look, Josh, there's only one thing that I need in this world, and that's to be jacked in.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah. So like I think like
I'm jacked in.
you want to be like Fritz,
Mm.
watch the movie so you can get like all the intel.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. You don't
Yeah.
Yeah. So Buffy and Xander go to Willow's house. She's not there. She's already been chloroformed and taken away. But they see the message for if you've got mail. They see her message. That's the message from Moloch that says, "Enough waiting. We must meet." So they're like, "Okay, we're gonna go to CRD now." And meanwhile, Giles
Moloch
is like, "All right,
got
Miss
horny
Calendar."
on Maine. Yeah. Like it's like meet me in the motel. IRL.
Alone
go.
at night with no one else. The
Yeah.
opposite of how you should be meeting people.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Giles is like, "Wait a minute, Miss Calendar, how the heck do you know all of this?" And she says, "There have been portents for days, power surges, online shutdowns. You should see the bones I've been casting."
The bones I've been casting.
She says, "Is she throwing bones like witches do?"
Whoa.
What?
I don't know. She says it's probably a mischief demon. And Giles is like, "Oh, it's Moloch." And Miss Calendar's like, "Oh yeah, the corruptor, I know him."
What do you think Moloch said when Willow asked him ASL? Like, what do you think he said?
I think he said like,
Age
we know he said he's
14,000.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Malcolm. He's 18 and he
Yeah.
lives 80 miles away from Willow.
Yeah. 14,000 demon south of Italy / the internet.
Wait, he's an Italian man. I totally
Yeah.
forgot. That's
And
so
Italian men are
romantic.
passionate. Yeah, they're
They're
passionate.
so
He is very
passionate.
passionate.
Malik is
Yeah.
just passionate.
He is.
Yeah. He's just passionate.
Yeah.
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh.
He's just trying to have his under the Tuscan sun moment. He just wants Willow to be Diane Lane.
Oh.
You
He
know?
wants Willow to just
no.
eat, pray, love with him.
Yes, he wants an pray love. I think is like,
Italy, pray, love.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Are we up to the robot yet?
Eat, pray,
No, we're not
hot
there yet.
love.
Oh my
Yeah.
We have to talk through, like, Giles is like, who the hell are you? The same question we're asking Miss Calendar. She's like, oh, I just casually teach computer science at the high school.
Yeah.
And Giles is like, but you just talked about throwing bones. And Miss Calendar is like, in a very like hippie, like granola kind of way. She's like, oh, you're so snobby. I can like computers and be a techno pagan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We contain multitudes, people.
Yeah. But she does offer to help. And so they're gonna sit down at the computer and try to figure out how to get Malik jacked off.
Yeah. How do we
gotta get him
jack
offline.
off Malik?
Exactly.
I told you he has two horns on there like rams.
Yeah, well, that's why it's confusing.
I mean, it's
What am I
confusing.
supposed to do? I gotta jack him off. I don't know.
You don't know which one.
Which horn?
He's so horny. Yeah.
Where's the off button
I
on
don't
him?
know what to do.
Well, it's time we finally meet Malik. Willow wakes up in this like lab, this very dark lab with a bunch of computer screens, and he goes, "Welcome, my love."
Yo,
So
Malik,
romantic.
I think this is a great metaphor of like of a 90s internet era too, of like, oh, so charming when it was just a computer screen and text between us, and now, oh, you're a Power Rangers villain? What is this?
This is exactly what it was. Like, it just felt like a Power Rangers episode, Josh. Like, it just felt like it. It really did.
The monster stuff on Buffy sometimes like has shades of that. And
Yeah.
I think it was hard for me at the start. And I'm not saying that like I love like a Lost, right?
Mhm.
We made it an hour 15 and I didn't reference it. Now here we are. And so like that's my stuff. And this is just like a few years away from Buffy, frankly. But I think like it wasn't even so much like the age of the show initially for me when I was like now going and finally watching it. But even at the time, it was like, this is a show that has something to say, but it also has like Power Ranger level effects on its creature effects and its monsters. And don't get me started on one of the big bads of one of the seasons coming up. You'll know it when you see it. And I was like really repelled by that at first. And then I gave it a shot. It was like, oh no, it does turn out that this show with the Power Rangers looking bad guys has a lot to say. And it says it really, really well. So like at a certain point, you got to buy in. You got to jack in. Jack in and get good with like some of the Power Ranger-iness of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I think we've been leaning into that,
Yeah.
Sarah. Like when we saw Bug Lady, we were like, wow, okay, we're here. Like
This will happen.
is a thing.
This will happen from time to time, and it'll never quite stop.
And I have to say, I did enjoy Malik because like he is so high on his own supply that I enjoy a confident villain. And he was just like, everything flows through me. I know your secrets. And he, no hesitation, kills Josh's favorite character, just immediately does his favorite move, the palming of the head, the snapping of the neck, and Fritz is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so then now we're out on him. We're out because he
dropped Fritz.
He dropped Fritz.
He
The
like
most jacked in
that's
of, like,
like
all
he
the
like took
people.
he took Fritz off his buddy list and he blocked him.
Oh, take him off his top
He
9.
he reported him to TOS. And so AOL terms of
brutal.
service disconnected Fritz's account.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he got banned.
Yeah, he got banned from AOL.
Ugh,
Couldn't go
this is
back.
Terrible news.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for a really scared Willow, Buffy and Xander are on the way. Xander just like falls over a fence because he's helpless and useless most of the time. And Miss Calendar is getting ready for her pagan techno pagan ritual here. She says to Giles they have to form a circle, and Giles in his brain is just like, "There's only two of us. That's a line."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And she's no. Inside. We have to jack in and form a circle inside.
Yeah.
That's the move.
So is this where we get the paint?
Yeah, so this is where she
You
says
get
that
the
like
paint. Remember the paint? Microsoft Paint.
Yeah.
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah.
Oh, Microsoft
Yes.
Paint. Yes.
Yes.
Jess, you're
Of
too
course.
you're too
Yes.
young.
Yeah.
I'm not too young.
Yeah.
I used
We're
Microsoft
not-
Paint.
Yeah.
You're not jacked in.
No, not in the same way. No.
Definitely not.
the
No.
same
No.
way.
No.
But she's like, "Oh, I'm going to get my whole group to respond and form the circle." So,
Oh, the other
okay.
techno-pagans.
Yeah.
other techno pagans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There's
Yeah.
more of
There's
them.
other TPs out there.
She did say that there's more of them than you would realize.
Yeah.
Is
These are
Willow-
these are the early adopters of the internet, right?
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
They invented the internet.
Yes.
Okay. Is
Al
there
Gore,
a possibility that is there a possibility that Willow, who is the most advanced hacker that this world ever did see, is a techno pagan?
I think Miss Calendar would be smart to approach Willow about being a techno pagan. And
Wait,
and
this is-
Sarah,
wait,
this
what?
goes along with our theory.
What's our theory?
Or maybe it's my theory. I can't remember if you agreed with it. I said I predict that at some point in the future, Willow will become a witch.
No, Jess.
Techno pagan witch.
Okay. I told you.
You said that?
Never mind.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
so uncomfortable.
Jess.
But basically, the theory was that
mhm.
at some point, everyone in the Buffy crew, the Scooby Doo crew,
Mhm.
whatever they're called,
The Scooby Gang.
Scoobs.
Scooby Gang.
Yeah.
There, like everyone in that group.
Everyone
at some
has to
point
like
will get
power
powers.
up. They got to power
Yeah.
up.
Everyone will
Yeah.
get jacked in at some point.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
Xander's power gonna be?
He was already a hyena. He's done.
That's it.
He doesn't get any more. But Malik is trying to like talk sweet nothings to Willow. To like, he's like, you created me. Like, oh my God, Sarah, this is the guy, Red Flag City, who's like, but you changed me.
Yeah.
I'm a better person because of you.
I mean, I would believe it.
We've all heard this before. We've all heard this lie. And luckily, Willow is smart enough to realize it. And she's like, you lied to me.
Yeah.
Thank God. Ugh. Get this
You
toxicity
hacked
out of
in.
your
You
life,
saw
Willow.
you saw Buffy's permanent record. You lost me at Buffy's permanent record, I think, is what she says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big problem, though, is that Malik is hanging out behind a steel door that Buffy isn't, even in all her Slayer powers, can't get open. And because there's a security camera in there, suddenly her and Xander are like just being like gassed with something. I don't know what type of gas. Chloroform?
Yeah.
Something.
Some kind of gas.
Yeah, and they can't get in. And I love Giles because Sarah, when I was watching this episode, the first thing that came to my mind is, okay, you probably kill Malik by getting some sort of antivirus software, you know?
Yeah, but basically,
Yeah.
Miss Calendar is like, you watch too much shows. That's so stupid.
Yeah. You just gotta like, he's malware, right? And that's his name
Malware.
is Malcolm.
Yeah, Mal means bad.
Yeah. Moy Mal. Yeah.
Moy Mal.
Yeah. They just need to like
and-
Norton antivirus him out.
Exactly.
Yes.
We should be sponsored. Norton Advice. If you want to sponsor us, happily.
Norton's still
Um,
out there doing this thing?
I think so.
Norton.
But
You still out here, Norton? Yeah, Norton's still doing it. Yeah.
that's the good guy that attacks Malik is Norton.
Yeah.
And my favorite is Giles being like, by the power of the divine, by the essence of the word, I command you. And all the stands out there for Daddy Giles are like, swoon, he commands me.
Yeah. Rupert.
Roops.
Have you connected that he's Rupert from Ted Lasso also? Giles?
Will pointed it out to me
Yeah,
like the first
yeah.
episode. I didn't notice it.
A
To me,
Tale
like
of
the
Two Ruperts.
glasses
Yeah,
changed his face
yeah.
in a way that he was unrecognizable for
Yeah,
me.
sure.
Rupert from Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
He's the other
Rebecca's
coach.
ex-husband. He was the head of the thing. He was the bad guy. Sort of the
Yeah.
bad guy.
Oh.
Yeah, you really
of
hate
Ted
him in Ted
Lasso.
Lasso. He's
Yeah.
not lovable at all.
Yeah, no, he's a bad guy in Ted Lasso. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Here
But he's still British.
Here he's Daddy Rupert.
Yeah, Daddy Giles.
Yeah. And on Ted Lasso, he's like deadbeat daddy, you know. Like, we don't like
Yeah.
him.
Oh, I wonder
Mean
if
daddy.
Adam realizes that he
Yeah.
loves Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Moloch is still trying to seduce Willow. But I love you. You're mine. And Melissa's, I'm not yours. Thank God for Willow.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
you know, because I was not super pleased with her the last few episodes where she's like swooning over Xander and then this Malcolm. It's like, Willow, you gotta know your self-worth, girl. Like, you're so much better than that. And I was happy she stood up for herself here.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is, though, right? The gas is pouring into this hallway where Xander and Buffy are trapped. And then all of the sudden, Buffy is somehow able to fiend off the gas poisoning enough to smash open the steel door, but they didn't show how she did it.
Just, it's none of our business.
Yada yada yada. She's the Slayer, okay?
Yeah.
And Xander's suddenly not passed out on the floor either.
Yeah. I mean, it tracks. It's none of our business how it happens. It just happens.
Well, luckily for them, at the same point in time, we have the pagan techno ritual happening. Sparks are flying out of the computer in the library. It's smoking. Listen, there's more than one thing on fire in this library, and it is the heat between Daddy Giles and Miss Calendar.
Sparks are flying there too.
Yeah. But Moloch is like being destroyed like at the same time, and so now this is kicky punchy hour, Sarah. It's time.
Well, okay, so like it's interesting because like even though they did the witchcraft that they had to do, they got him out of like the internet, so the threat that he's going to set off nuclear weapons is no longer there, but now he is firmly stuck within that robot body. And Buffy can hit vampires, but she's not used to handling large machinery, so it's not so
we all
much
have our
like,
weaknesses.
so it's not as easy for her. Like she can't be like kicking and punching like a giant metal robot. It hurts her. She is just one Buffy, even though she is powerful. So you know, they try to like kick and punch and do like hit with fire extinguishers, but only electrocuting this robot will help the situation, which ultimately they did. So thank goodness.
Is there any guidance to take away from this? Because sometimes nowadays, I don't know if you agree, so I don't want to speak out of school, but sometimes nowadays the internet can be a really toxic place, right?
Yes, of course. It's
so
very
but we
toxic.
can't fight it with our hands and our fists and our wooden stakes and our fire extinguishers. Can we electrocute it? Like, what do you do? How do you
turn
do
it in on itself? You turn it against itself, right? Use the electricity against itself.
So are you saying you want me to electrocute my own computer?
I didn't say that.
I feel like you
Yes,
did.
Sarah, as soon as this podcast is over, though, not in the middle of the podcast.
I don't think you followed the metaphor. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. I kind of want to.
Well, that's between you and your techno-pagan god, okay?
Yep.
I got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but this is when, like, Buffy gets him to try to punch her, and she ducks, and he punches, like, a circuit board, and his head pops off, and it's incredible.
That's awesome. That's cool, right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Especially the special effects.
Is there any point in me asking who built the robot? Is there
No.
Oh, I thought it was like
Okay.
I thought that
It's
he
that
had
lab
tapped
coat
into the
guy.
CRD network and had all them build it.
Some form of that.
Okay.
This episode will basically be irrelevant. You know,
Okay, so
like,
I'm
we
not
won't
gonna
really,
worry. I'm not
no,
gonna worry
no,
about
no,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Like this
No.
episode, it importantly introduced Miss Calendar.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what are some like other ramifications from it. I don't think any.
Yeah, there's no
So,
ramifications about anything.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the next day, so all is well. Giles goes to the computer lab, which Miss Calendar is like, whoa, stepping into enemy territory. Look at you. And it's because she left an earring behind. And I'm like, did they make out?
Don't you think we would see that?
Yeah, I don't think
would
they made
certainly
out.
hope so.
Yeah.
I don't think they made out. I
would
think,
think they'd show us that.
and also Jess, she admitted that it was not an earring. It's a nipple ring.
Wait, what?
She said it didn't come from her ear.
Wait, she did?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a nipple ring? That doesn't
Well, I
seem very
don't think she
practical.
said nipple ring.
What do you think it is? Is
But
it
Where the hell
nipple
else
ring?
would it go?
you can make your insinuations of your own. Of
It's
where
too
I don't know that you
long
should
to
be down
go
in that-
below the belt.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
But they have this whole conversation about how Giles
thinking
hates computers.
elbow.
An elbow ring?
Yeah.
Ooh, ugh.
Hmm.
Giles talks about the power of smell and memory and how computers don't smell, books smell. And he really loves that about them.
Ask Sarah after she electrocutes her computer.
I think it will smell a little burny.
Yeah. Bernie. Yeah.
Bernie. All right, well, good for them. I'm excited to see their relationship develop.
Do
I do
computers
think-
not smell? I'm gonna smell mine real quick just to let you know.
Yeah, give it a sniff. Do a sniff test.
It just smells like air.
Yeah. I mean,
air
new
is
computers smell like a new computer, but I think it's the plastic.
Yeah, and that's not very nice smelling. Yeah, I ship them together. I think they're going to be great together, especially because, again, she is like the new age, like techno pagan, loves computers, crimps her
Mhm.
hair, has earrings in strange places,
Mhm.
and Giles is like this bookish, snobby guy. And also he wears tweed, she wears leather. Like it really works.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna work out, but they can, roll around in the Google Sheets a little bit. Have
Yeah.
a good night. So the episode ultimately ends with the fact that like Willow's kind of beating herself up because she fell for a
'Cause she got
robot incident
catfished.
and she got
Yeah.
catfished. She's a little
Yeah.
bummed, but Buffy and Xander kind of say like, you know what, don't like be hard on yourself. I fell in love with a vampire. He had a crush on a bug lady. Like, we're all in this together.
We're all in
then, like,
Hellmouth.
yeah, but then it like leaves off in such a strange like note that feels like a little unsettling where they're like, yeah, like we're never gonna find love.
Like the way they end these episodes sometimes. Like
I love it. I love it.
it-
I love it.
I think they love to end the episodes in a way that like leaves shit open for like villains to return and all that stuff. Because like they did it with the cheerleading one. Remember where the mom was like trapped in the trophy?
Yeah.
And they like love to do
Great
that shit, but
episode.
that was such a Debbie Downer at the end of the episode.
Well, sometimes they like to end on sort of like these like on like jokes, or they like to leave it with you feeling like, oh God, that was dark, but totally unnecessary and disconnected from everything else.
Yeah.
I think that and like you always go to credits and there's like never music, I feel like. So you're just like, you go from a scene, it feels like the scene could continue, and then you get to like Joss Whedon's name or whatever.
Yeah, black credits and it goes and
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling.
I love it.
actually.
I love it. I love how they handle the ends of most of their episodes. I think it felt like along the way, especially as I like kept watching the show, it just felt like sort of like not the signature of the show, certainly, but like one of their signatures is like how they do
Mhm.
endings. So I
Yeah.
like it. I think it's great. I think it's fun.
Seems like they're like, we don't know how to end this, so
Yeah.
we're just gonna say something that's gonna leave you feeling a
just leave it
little
here.
gross.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And
On
as
we
like
go.
a little goodbye kiss.
Yep. That's it. That's
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
So as promised, Sarah, we have to do our mid-season rankings of
Yes.
the characters. So I'm gonna
Yes.
list the characters that
Gosh,
are
are
up
we
for.
mid-season here already at this point?
We're more than
We're past
mid-season.
mid-season.
Wow.
Season 1 is
Wow.
short, so we're
Wow.
past mid-season at
Wow.
this point.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. You got
So
four
here's
more.
who's on our list. We have some that I've added in as extras because they kind of have to be there, right? So we have the regular gang of Buffy, Willow, Xander, Giles.
Yep.
Then we have to add in Angel,
Yep.
Daddy Vamps, and
Okay.
Cordelia. They're
Okay.
all available to be ranked.
Great.
I have pre-done my ranking, Sarah. If you, I
Oh.
don't know if you've done yours, so I'll talk
Oh,
through mine,
man.
and then you could do yours.
You sure? Yeah.
Okay. So at the very bottom, I'll go bottom to top because that's more exciting. At the very bottom, I have Cordelia. A, she
Wow.
sucks.
Wow.
B, her outfits are trash. She wears like
Mhm.
lime green too often. And
Yeah.
C, we haven't really seen enough of her to warrant her being further. She's not. We haven't seen her enough for me to love to hate her in the way that a different character will fall higher on my rankings. Next up is Xander, because Xander truly sucks. Like truly, he almost was lower than Cordelia because of just how awful he is, and he actually probably should be lower than Cordelia. There really doesn't need to be more said because I slander him every single episode that we're on here.
Xander him.
Yeah, Xander slander. It's a whole segment. Next up is Willow, and I wanted to have her higher. I want to love Willow, but right now I don't love her in the way that I want to, and I think it's because she loves Xander, and that immediately like ruins it a little bit. You know, it dulls her sparkle a little bit. But if she becomes a master hacker and finds a cute boy that she wants to date that's not Xander, I'll probably move her up in the rankings because she just has really bad taste in men. Next up is Angel. He's very cryptic. I love the whole storyline of, he's a vampire with a soul and all of that. But like a lot remains to be seen with Angel for me to like him more. He needs to give Buffy more information when he's trying to warn her, enough with the one-liners. Okay, bro? Like we know you're the mysterious cool guy, but like give us a little bit more. And then third in my ranking is Daddy Vamps. Good old Daddy Vamps.
Daddy Vamp's high on the list here with his like fruit punch mouth. This is wild.
Because he's so funny. I always am laughing when Daddy Vamps shows up. Listen, all he wants is a bestie, and all his besties keep getting killed. And now he has this kid to take care of. He's very pro-adoption.
How do we
He's
feel about the
adopted-
kid? How do we feel about the kid?
We haven't seen a ton of Colin, but like it is a bit silly. And
Yeah.
he's a bit like, oh, let me handle it, Daddy Vamps. And we're like, you're a child, okay?
Yeah.
So like shut your mouth a little bit.
Yep.
But Daddy Vamps, he has this little puddle of blood that he loves. Like he just wants to take a soak in the hot tub. And
Relatable.
like, exactly. Darla would have been high on my list as well, but we're not ranking her because she's gone.
Yeah.
Second on my list is Giles. I've really come around on Daddy Giles. He's a watcher. He's like the straight man, but I appreciate that he's a little no nonsense. I appreciate that he's a bit of a dork. So he falls number 2 on my list. And number 1 is Buffy, because Buffy's a freaking badass. And I don't know why I wouldn't have her number 1. And Sarah, this is something you tend to do where you love a main character. A main character is always your number 1.
Mhm.
Never for me. I'm a side character girly. But Buffy is number 1 for me right now.
Yes.
Those are my rankings.
Yeah. Good rankings. Mine are not too dissimilar.
Okay.
I have Xander last. I just don't have time for him.
Yeah.
Then I have Cordelia because I like her. I mean, like honestly, like I like her one-liners. I think that Charisma Carpenter is actually a very good actress and she's very interesting to watch. I've said this a few times, but I really enjoyed watching her on Veronica Mars, and it was very fun seeing her on this show as well. And then like I put Giles next. I just like he just makes me a little sleepy when I hear from him. And then I have Willow, who I think has big potential on booting it up if I wasn't in this for the bit and putting Daddy Vamp so high because then I have Angel. I love Angel. I think that he's so hot and mysterious, and I like his dark meth past, and I just think that he's like very interesting. Then I have Daddy Vamps because of all the same reasons that you said. I think that He's really misunderstood. All he wants in this world is a family that he can spend time with. He wants to go upstairs. He doesn't want to be hanging out with his blood jacuzzi anymore.
Yeah, 3 scores, Sarah. It's been 3 scores since
Been
he's
a
been down there.
while. Yeah. And I definitely have Buffy as number 1. I think that she is just a really exciting, fun protagonist to follow. I believe in her. I like root for her. I think that I see like a lot of potential in seeing her grow and also regress. Like I've been saying for a while, like I can see like she has this like blind confidence in her because she's like a 16-year-old girl. Like I can definitely see that getting knocked a little bit and seeing like a lot of really interesting character development from her. So I think that she's a great main character. And I do love main characters. I do, because like I always feel like if it wasn't for a main character, we wouldn't be here, you know? Like so and yeah, like a lot of main characters are very flawed, but I think it's because like you're supposed to see yourself in them. Like I think that, you know, we don't have Carrie from Sex and the City being perfect because we're supposed to relate to the fact that she can be like a little selfish, because a lot of people are like, a lot of people are selfish and a little self-centered. So like I'm very into the main characters, but besides like the bit, like I think that Buffy, Angel, and Willow are my 3 favorite characters in all, and who I'm most excited about and who I'm most excited to see that potential from. But then Daddy Vamps is really up there because I'm like very, very close to just like ditching the quote unquote good guys and just rooting for the vampires.
The main problem is that I think like Daddy Vamps is here for a good time, not a long time. Like I think he's only like a season 1 villain.
Why would you do this to me?
Listen, we lost Darla, okay? Our darling Darla is no longer with us. And that's devastating.
Well, I mean, didn't you say that she's going to be on like Breaking Bad or something?
She went to Dexter.
Sure. She's Dexter's wife.
She's on Dexter.
Same difference. I haven't seen either, and I have no opinions.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the rankings. Josh, do you have a favorite character?
Okay, well, so I think I can transpose how I felt at this time in season 1.
You can do the internet rewind, you know, the rewind project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You can do that and try to remember what
I go like at the Internet Archives or whatever it was.
Yes.
Yeah. In the time machine. I think Xander at the back for sure, for obvious reasons. He just sucks and brings nothing to the table. Then I think at this point in time for me, and I'm taking the master out of it. Like I will let you guys have Daddy Vamp. I think the next for me, I'm like a little sleepy with Angel. A little sleepy with Angel. I think Angel's just like a little bit like, I'm so upset and broody.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, you know, that's all right. I think that's fine. Then I'm Cordelia at this point in the show because like she really is just Mean Girl, but I think Charisma Carpenter is so funny as Mean Girl, but I don't know if the Mean Girl stuff is super funny yet, if it ever gets funny. And she also does like, even in like some of her best stuff, there are going to be some times where like you guys cannot be getting away with saying some of the stuff you're saying on this show.
That's already happened quite a few times.
Yeah. But I think I have a lot of love for Charisma Carpenter, and I think Cordelia is great. Then I think like you could go either way. I think taste dependent on Willow and Giles in these next spots here. I love Giles. I think Giles is great. I think Willow is iconic as well. But absolutely for sure. And I'm also like typically like main character is not my favorite character. On this show, for sure, it's Buffy. 1,000,000%. It's Buffy number 1 with a wooden stake every day of the week. The supporting cast is great, and it'll grow and it'll get better and all of this stuff. And then sometimes it'll get a little worse. And then, you know, it's like there's always interesting people in the mix on Buffy. And I think just about through it all, with the exception of like a couple people that are maybe competitive for that top spot, it's Buffy. You know, this is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, total icon spinning out of this, and like worth every amount of hype for me was what kept me going through Buffy for sure. The writing really, really funny, quippy, all of this stuff. Buffy is what kept me in Buffy. She's the best. She's the absolute best, the Buffster.
Yeah, I think that's all very fair. And you're not far off from where we are. So, like, I feel pretty righteous in my rankings.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll change. Dawson's Creek, we know we saw, like, major upsets in rankings over the season.
You'll have, like, people that you don't even know exist and all of this stuff. And, you know.
Yeah, there's still a character, I think. I don't think it's Miss Calendar that people were talking about that they love. So I'm pretty sure there's still a character that we haven't met yet that people absolutely adore. And I'm excited for that. I'm pretty sure Kevin even said his favorite character hasn't shown up yet. So
yeah. Yes, I know who Kevin's favorite character is.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Has not shown up.
But we did get some feedback. We got an email from Justin. He says, I love that my Daddy Giles take has really taken off. There's been a few people who've since reached out and corroborated that with me. So he's very excited that we're loving Daddy Giles. And he said, I've noticed the only way it seems for Sarah to pay attention to the lore is if there's some toxicity behind it.
That
Maybe
is
a
true.
redone version of Giles should get a bit more toxic. All jokes aside, Sarah, I love your takes on the show, even if you don't listen to Daddy Giles.
Thank you. I'm sorry that he makes me sleepy. Maybe if he adds a little bit more spice into his storytelling.
He has a British accent. What more do you want from him?
That is sleepy. That makes me sleepy.
So when our friend Stuart talks, you just don't listen to what he says.
Who?
Wow.
I hope he listens.
No, I'm joking.
Justin continues, as someone who disliked Angel since the beginning, it was the whole stalker/follower vibes that really did it for me. The mystery aspect worsened it as he never helped, and it really got annoying to see him spout off some veiled hints but never outright help. That's where I'm with Angel currently, right? Like the broody, mysterious bit is like quickly growing old for me, and I'm going to need him to actually do something a little bit more helpful at some point.
Yep.
It's very helpful. He gave her that cross.
And we just, who knows what's inside that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Party.
Free cocaine.
That's what I think. It's
Party. Yeah.
Justin also says, Buffy, I feel especially as the series goes on, develops quite a sickness of main character-itis. I don't hate her like I do Angel, but she's not one of my favorites. Combine the two, and Bangel is such a funny ship name, for me was just unbearable. I'd check out whenever the two had romantic scenes together. That's super interesting.
Angel, but Bungle is right there.
Bungle. It's true, Bungle. And finally, as to the favorite seasons, my favorite season is season 6. It's probably not a favorite by many due to how heavily dramatic it is, but I love it. Josh, do you have a favorite season of Buffy?
Wow. I'll say that the season 6 take, I've heard it before, and I get it, but it's a vibe. And like maybe not always like super.
Usually that's the second to last season. I was gonna say usually the last season of a show is never anyone's favorite.
Yeah, last season I think is probably the weakest. Personally. Favorite for me is some combination of 1, 2, and 3. And I think it's probably 3, but maybe 2. It's 2 or 3 at the top, and then 1 is in third place, I think, for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I really enjoy them all. I really like season 5 a lot. Season 4 is ridiculous in some ways that are both like fun, and other ways that are like I think the consensus worst episode of the show is in season 4.
Oh, interesting.
I think it involves beer, is what I'll say, and the people who know the show understand.
Ooh,
I think that's the consensus worst. I was watching that episode. It was season 4. I'm pretty sure I was watching that episode, and like I already knew a bunch of like things about Buffy, some things that I thought I knew that I totally didn't know, and got them completely wrong. But I was like trying not to overly look up Buffy while I was watching. But at that moment, while I was watching this episode, I was like, I got to look up a few like Buffy episode ranking lists. I want to know where this one falls. And like, I opened up like several of them. They're like, yeah, this is the worst episode of the show. It's like, okay, cool. I'm pretty sure this is the worst episode of the show that I'm watching right now.
Yeah.
But there's also the season 4. Season 4, I think for me has the best finale. And maybe that's a hot take along the season 6 is my favorite season take. Yeah.
Well, Sarah, do you want to know what next week's episode title is?
I would love to know.
I'm a little nervous about this one. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
It's titled The Puppet Show. And
Oh.
notoriously, I have a bad experience with puppets. So,
Oh.
and we are not going to be alone. We're going to be joined by our friend Todd the librarian. So we'll get to ask him all our librarian-themed questions about Giles.
We already asked him about the cage.
Yeah.
And he
The
answered.
prison and the library.
Yep.
So that'll be next week. I'm excited for that. Josh, we were so happy you came on to chat with us about this episode.
It was great.
Truly, like, I don't even know what I watched, but I know I watched it. You know?
Yeah, I also watched it. A masterpiece, I think. Just a real like time capsule. This episode, I think.
Yes.
Like this episode could be like just like enshrined in a museum somewhere.
This was what the 90s were like.
Yeah. I do think like if like we wanted to like explore what was pop culture in the 90s like, you could make a strong argument that this is the episode of Buffy at least that you should show people.
Yeah. I would agree
No,
with that.
I don't think this is. We're gonna start unplugging you. If we give these ideas.
Where else can people find you if they're jacked in on the internet, Josh?
Well, not post your recaps anymore. It's jacked off. Jacked out. No, we've announced the end of post show recaps. We have a bunch of really fun shows through the end of March that we're working on behind the scenes. So we hope that you're all going to enjoy those. Some funny ideas in the hopper. Other than that, I'm at Round Howard wherever you can find me. I am not as jacked into the internet as I was during those Frankie Dynamo days of AOL tribal councils. But you can still send me a message on one of the various platforms and I'll likely see it. I may not reply to it because I tend to just like keep my thoughts to myself. I'm like a Giles lurker now. Sort of
You're a watcher.
Yeah, I'm a watcher. Yeah.
Meanwhile, we are still covering Felicity and Buffy every week. Felicity comes out on Mondays. What is it? What did I say? Felicity comes out on Mondays. Buffy comes out on Thursdays. Is that right, Sarah? Why did I just forget that?
Yeah, that's
I think
correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are we feeling about Felicity right now?
Loving Felicity, and spoiler alert for the next episode, I'm so happy I'm Team Ben and not Team Noel because I have a lot of not nice things to say about Noel at the moment.
Oh no.
So, Sarah,
speaking of Power Rangers. Listen.
So that's what we have going on. You could find us at shit90spod, shit90spod.com. You could leave us a voicemail. We love getting feedback. And yeah, I'm at the Jess Sterling. Sarah's at Sara Fergenson. Anything else you want to add, Sarah?
No.
All right. Well, with that, we will say, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.